Ye Tian was reborn into a prominent military family in the parallel world. His grandfather was a retired lieutenant general, his uncle was a major general, and his father was a colonel and brigade commander. My mother is worth over 100 million yuan, and she originally wanted to live a simple life from this family background. However, she was sent by the old man to study abroad in Mao Xiong and lost contact. Without the help of his family, Ye Tian joined the Sukhoi Design Bureau, one of the 8 major design companies in Mao Xiong, relying on his own abilities. With his help, Mao Xiong successfully developed the Su-35 stealth fighter jet, which went directly from the 4th generation to the 5th generation. He was also awarded the rank of Major General in Mao Xiong's Air Force. One day, when Grandpa Ye saw from the TV news that Ye Tian was accompanying Emperor Mao Xiong on a trip, he was completely shocked. Mao Xiong Air Force Major General rank, is this my grandson? Major General uncle was also foolish. After going abroad for a few years, my nephew is on the same level as me. Father Ye. This military rank is higher than mine. How should I call you? Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. 001, developed the Su-35 stealth 5th generation aircraft, Colonel. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sukhoi Airport. An advanced fighter jet had just slid off the runway and parked steadily on the apron. The powerful engine is still spinning, and the airflow from the tail is still warm, indicating that the fighter has just successfully flown. Pop pop pop. All the participants in the entire Mao Xiong Air Force Base gathered around, applauding warmly, their palms turning red, and the scene was exceptionally lively. Each face was covered with a bright smile, their eyes eagerly fixed on the Su-35 fighter jet. Under the sunshine, this fighter jet appeared particularly dazzling and eye-catching. The cockpit glass cover slowly opened, and as soon as the pilot got out of the cabin, someone sent a bouquet of flowers to congratulate him. But the pilot's gaze searched through the crowd and finally froze on a young man. He quickly walked over and held the flowers in his hands, handing them over. Mr. Yi, congratulations. This is the best fighter plane I've ever flown. The pilot smiled heartily and immediately gave the young man a passionate bear hug. Many people on site saw the two tightly embracing each other, so excited that tears flowed down their faces, and the applause became even more intense. This young man, named Ye Tian, comes from the Xia Kingdom and is deeply involved in the development of this famous fighter jet. He is the key figure in the successful maiden flight of this fighter jet. He is not a native of this world, but was sent to Mao Xiong by his family a few years ago, and then in that cold winter, Ye Tian was reborn in this parallel world. After many years, Ye Tian has already gained a comprehensive and in-depth understanding of his original body in this world. I have an excellent family background, my grandfather is a retired general, and my uncle is a military commander. As for his father, he was also a brigade commander, and his mother was worth over 100 million yuan. For Ye Tian, with such a solid family environment, he was born with a golden key and could reach the pinnacle of his life without struggle. I didn't read nature books well, except for eating, drinking, and having fun. I didn't do anything serious, and even made a group of friends, causing trouble all day. The good thing is that I haven't learned anything, and the bad habits are also not left behind. In the end, because he was too naughty, his family forcibly sent him to study at Mao Xiong. When it came to Mao Xiong, Ye Tian was completely transformed. He spent his days with the library and made rapid progress in his profession. He received praise from his mentor and was regarded as his proud student. Later, he decided to take him into the Sukhoi Design Bureau and become a military researcher. 1 year later, he became the youngest aircraft design expert in the Design Bureau and organized the design of this cutting-edge fighter jet. Same joy, same joy. Ye Tian also opened his arms and hugged the pilot tightly. This cutting-edge fighter jet, designed by him, took a lot of effort from the blueprint to its successful maiden flight. Of course, this Su-35 heavy fighter jet is the pinnacle of the Mao Xiong Sukhoi Design Bureau, combining the most advanced technology and equipment of the entire Mao Xiong aviation industry. It houses the most advanced radar equipment, as well as advanced avionics and aircraft engine technology. The pilot just piloted it and made many unconventional maneuvers, such as the Amaman maneuver, the fallen leaf maneuver, the cobra maneuver, and so on, all of which were so skillful. He's like controlling a fighter jet from extraterrestrial black technology. Originally, this fighter jet could only be considered a fourth-and-a-half-generation fighter jet, but under the leadership of Ye Tian, it underwent a comprehensive stealth design, giving it super-strong stealth performance. Even on its maiden flight, ground radar detected and locked the fighter in all directions, but unfortunately, it had no effect at all. Finally, the radar transmission cross-dot section was increased through the longbow lens installed on the aircraft body, allowing the ground radar to control its flight status in real-dot time. Its successful maiden flight signifies that the Mao Xiong fighter jet has stepped into the ranks of invisibility. This is of epoch-making significance for the entire Mao Xiong aviation industry and the Air Force, as it is a truly complete fifth-generation aircraft. That is to say, from today on, Mao Xiong has his own fifth-generation machine, no longer having to look at the face of De Ingwa, let alone fear the threat brought by the Western fifth-generation machine. Starting from today, Mao Xiong has also squeezed into the fifth-generation machine club. The on-site commander quickly walked up to Ye Tian and held his hand tightly, saying, "Mr. Ye, you are a hero of our country. You have made us step into the ranks of advanced air forces on par with the Great Eagle country. Air Force General Gust is waiting for you in the auditorium, please follow me." Okay, Ye Tian nodded lightly. Surrounded by everyone, Ye Tian arrived at the auditorium. This place has long been renovated, filled with a festive and lively atmosphere. Inside the auditorium, there are numerous school officials from the Air Force, as well as many major generals. Ye Tian had just walked into the auditorium when warm applause rang out, welcoming him into the room. When he reached the podium, General Gust of the Mao Xiong Air Force was dressed in military uniform, appearing particularly upright and full of authority. "Mr. Yi, congratulations. We have successfully developed the Su-35 fighter jet, which is the most advanced fighter jet in our country. At the same time, it is also the world's most cutting-edge stealth fighter. In recognition of your outstanding contributions and the cultivation of your team and talents, we will honor you. You are a true military genius, worthy of all our pride." General Gust tightly held Ye Tian's hand and said with great emotion. Ye Tian's resume has long been placed on his desk, and he is a true military technology genius. Since joining the Sukhoi Design Bureau, he has truly been at ease and his intelligence has been greatly utilized. He has completed the manufacturing of advanced fighter jets. It also helped Mao Xiong cultivate numerous military technology talents, making an indelible contribution to the progress of Mao Xiong's aviation industry, and is a talent worth remembering for all Mao Xiong people. Of course, it's a pity that Ye Tian is not a hairy bear person, but a person who actually comes from the Xia kingdom. But this still does not prevent them from giving such talents the highest treatment. "General, I just did what I should have done." Ye Tian humbly responded, hoping to conduct research well and practice the techniques he had mastered more. "You are very humble, but we cannot deny your credit. According to research conducted by the Air Force Headquarters, we award you the first-class Military Heroic Medal." General Gust said with a firm expression, and then a beautiful officer slowly walked up the stage with a medal in hand amidst the crowd's gaze. 002, Great Contribution, awarded the title of Little General Mao Xiong. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Previously, Ye Tian participated in the renovation and upgrading of Su-30. The successful renovation of Su-30 also made significant contributions and established his position within the Sukhoi Design Bureau. It was this step that transformed him from an ordinary researcher to a truly capable military expert. At the same time, he also created the history of the Sukhoi Design Bureau. In a short period of time, he was promoted from the rank of major after graduation to his current rank of colonel. The progress in this process cannot be considered unpleasant. Even looking at the entire bear, Ye Tian's progress can be considered remarkable. Looking at the golden colonel rank, Ye Tian couldn't help but laugh and cry in his heart. Originally, he had come to study abroad to learn some scientific and technological knowledge, and then return to Xiaogua to accept his parents' arrangements and embark on a formal job. Who would have thought that he accidentally joined the Sukhoi Design Bureau and became a true military technology expert? All this tremendous change can also be attributed to the awakening of his own system. Ye Tian used his own technology analysis system to analyze all the technologies that Mao Xiong technicians found difficult to handle, and it was unstoppable. His mentor directly said that Ye Tian is the most talented military expert in Mao Xiong's decades. With Ye Tian present, the aviation industry of Mao Xiong will stand at the top of the world, becoming a presence that has shocked the entire Western world. At that time, these words were not fully recognized by Mao Xiong's technology workers. Instead, they felt that Ye Tian's mentor was just boasting and deliberately promoting Ye Tian. Today, with the successful maiden flight of the stealth fighter Su-35, this statement has become a reality and has made those who once looked down on Ye Tian lower their arrogant heads. They all changed their attitudes and paid tribute and praise to Ye Tian. When the old man sent him to study abroad at Mao Xiong's place, if he found out that he had become a Mao Xiong colonel, I don't know what kind of feelings to make. Ye Tian remembers very clearly that when he sent him to study abroad at Mao Xiong, it was a cold and piercing winter. The old man angrily tied him up from the bed, stuffed him into a special car, and finally escorted him onto a plane bound for Mao Xiong. Thinking about his disheveled appearance back then, Ye Tian couldn't help but smile bitterly at the corner of his mouth. In a blink of an eye, several years have passed. Over the years, he has hardly had much contact with his family. Anyway, his monthly money is enough to spend. Since joining the Sukhoi Design Bureau, his salary has been increasing every month, and there are also project rewards for successful project development. In fact, according to his current income level, he can completely settle down here with Mao Xiong. However, Ye Tian has never had such thoughts in recent years. Every night when he dreams back at midnight, he remembers the bits and pieces of his life in the Xia Kingdom. Only in the Xia Kingdom is his true destination. Even if Mao Xiong achieves great success here, it is just a passing point. After completing his studies, he still needs to return to his home country. Ye Tian did not reveal a single word to his family about any achievements or progress made here at Mao Xiong. "Grandpa, even if I tell you these things, I'm afraid you won't believe them, right?" Ye Tian whispered in his heart. Who could have imagined that in just a few years, he would undergo earth-shattering changes? In fact, if this had not happened to him, he probably wouldn't have believed that he had undergone such a change. The treatment given to him by Mao Xiong is actually very good. At least he is not treated differently because he is from Xia. On the contrary, whether it is Mao Xiong's military or Sukhoi's Design Bureau, they are all entitled to treatment, and that will definitely be given in place. The most unbearable thing for Ye Tian is that the wine culture here is too strong. He often releases vodka during festivals, and it's the kind he manages enough. So much so that he has learned to drink alcohol and even enjoys drinking a little vodka. Especially his mentor, who loves vodka very much. Whenever there are academic issues, they will definitely discuss with him, and the two of them will also drink together. "Mr. Yi, you also need to make a move about your military rank. Given your significant and irreplaceable contribution to the development of the Su-35 stealth fighter. After going through the General Staff Department and the Air Force Joint Department, it has been decided to award you the rank of Major General." Gus spoke again, saying that he had already been awarded the rank of Colonel Ye Tian as a reward for his contributions. It can be said that Ye Tian directly broke the record of the Mao Xiong Air Force. In fact, after passing the rank of colonel, according to domestic standards, one should be promoted to colonel. However, Mao Xiong does not hold any military rank, so he is naturally promoted directly to major general. Ye Tian was also shocked. Lie on the trough, accidentally became a major general. I'm so good, I'm really scared to death. He never thought before that he would suddenly become a general. Mao Xiong, is this too much to give? How old are you? In his 20s, just a few years after graduating from college, he became a down-to-earth young general. He has now set a new record in the country of bears. Although this is just a technical major general, his treatment is on par with that of a true major general in the army, which means he is now in the position of a major general in the army. He remembers that his previous mentor status was only a colonel, isn't it beyond his mentor? Thank you, Ye Tian immediately reacted and thanked him immediately. This rank cannot be denied, it is a recognition of one's contributions. After all, he created Mao Xiong's only fifth-generation fighter jet, the Su-35, which led Mao Xiong Air Force from the original era of 4.5 fighter jets to officially enter the ranks of the fifth generation. Now, 5 generations of aircraft have emerged ahead of schedule, becoming an advanced presence in the world's air force, and of course, thanks to Mao Xiong's strong aviation industry as its foundation. Whether it's the stealth-absorbing coating on the Su-35, the ultra-strong thrust vector engine, the avionics system on the fuselage, or the phased array radar with ultra-long-range detection capabilities, all require an industrial foundation. Otherwise, even if Ye Tian had a parsing system and could easily develop the technology, it would be useless if he couldn't produce it. Mr. Yi, there will be an award ceremony here. However, what needs to be wronged for you is that whether it is awarding you the first-class military heroic medal or the rank of Major General, according to the confidentiality agreement, it will not be publicly disclosed. Of course, a few senior executives will know that we, Mao Xiong, will not forget everyone who has contributed to Mao Xiong's progress and development. Mr. Yi, so I'm really sorry. General Gust said to Ye Tian with a final apologetic expression. 003, Mao Xiong announces invisible fifth-generation machine Su-35 to the public. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Even as strong as a bear, one should be wary of Western countries, especially the Great Eagle country. In the country of Mao Xiong, there are many agents from the Great Eagle Kingdom who specialize in assassinating top talents in Mao Xiong's military industry. Ye Tian is also very clear, after all, his mentor has already talked about it many times. Besides, Ye Tian doesn't care about those false names either. Whether nature is open or not has little impact on him. It's okay. I am already a major general and have been awarded the first-class military heroic medal, haven't I? Ye Tian smiled indifferently, expressing his detached attitude. Now, he has received the highest honor from the furry bear. He hasn't returned for several consecutive years, and these honors are only known to the people in the bear circle. In Xia's country, he still has nothing. It was with these considerations in mind that Ye Tian naturally became even less interested in the honors bestowed upon him by Mao Xiong. At most, these are just affirmations of the contributions made by oneself in the past period of time. Mr. Yi, your heart is really calm like water. This mindset is worth learning from. General Gust stared at Ye Tian for a while, but his heart was filled with emotion. Perhaps one of the important reasons why this little guy didn't value the highest honor awarded by their furry bears so much was because they came from Xia Kingdom, right? Ye Tian is indeed a super genius, who has forged the glory of the entire Mao Xiong Air Force with his own efforts. Since he joined the Sukhoi Design Bureau, the Mao Xiong Air Force has made significant progress in recent years, from the 4th-generation fighter to the 4.5-generation fighter, and now the Su-35's true 5th-generation stealth fighter, which can rival the existence of the Great Eagle's 5th-generation fighter. It can be said that every step is moving forward without taking any detours, let alone wasting a penny of the Air Force's budget. Whether it's the improvements and upgrades of the Sukhoi or the current Sukhoi stealth fighter, he has made this Air Force general sit firmly on the fishing ground and become the envy of other branches of the military. While praising Ye Tian fiercely, Gust also hesitated in his heart. After all, Ye Tian is a person from Xia country, and he has never applied for a Mao Xiong green card from senior management to obtain Mao Xiong nationality and stay permanently. I don't know if Ye Tian will be tempted to stay with the honors given. However, all of these were personally decided by the Emperor. The Sukhoi stealth fighter combines the most advanced industrial technology of the entire Bear, and can be said to be the world's strongest fifth-generation aircraft. That is to say, from the moment this cutting-edge fighter jet successfully landed, Mao Xiong never surpassed Western countries, especially the Great Eagle, in terms of fighter jets. The Air Force has always been a high-tech unit, and once there is a gap in equipment, it will be fatal for the Air Force. After all, even the most advanced anti-aircraft missiles are passive defense, and their range cannot be compared to advanced fighter jets. Moreover, fighter jets have their unique advantage of being able to be reused. Previously, facing the fifth-generation fighter jets of the Great Eagle country, the Mao Xiong Air Force always had to cooperate with ground-air defense forces and long-range radar units, and even so, the effect was unsatisfactory. And now, with the Su-35, it is only then that we have truly achieved parity with the Eagle Air Force. At least, when facing the Eagle Air Force, the Mao Xiong Air Force no longer needs to have technical shortcomings, and the Air Force can calmly respond to enemy provocations. After the successful test flight, the Bear Defense Department immediately held a press conference. In the hall, the spokesperson for the Defense Department sat upright, looking proud and confident. The colleagues sitting next to him were also very happy. Today, we will release an important message to the public, which you have been speculating about for a long time. Our country has developed a brand new fifth-generation stealth fighter jet and has successfully tested it. It will soon be equipped with the Air Force. After seeing that it was almost time, the spokesperson glanced at the prepared materials and loudly announced to the reporters present at the scene. As soon as the news was finished, the reporters on site were all impressed, exchanged glances, and immediately began to write vigorously, typing on the computer. This is a heavyweight message that must be transmitted as soon as possible, and in an instant, this news shocked the world. Lying down, Mao Xiong quietly produced the fifth-generation stealth fighter. Mao Xiong is obviously targeting the Great Eagle country. Recently, Mao Xiong and the Great Eagle country have been in fierce competition, and now both have fifth-generation machines, so let's play. Previously, Mao Xiong was a third-and-a-half-generation fighter jet, but now it has surpassed the fifth generation in one fell swoop. It seems that Mao Xiong has made rapid progress. Whether it is a group of netizens or politicians from other countries, it is clear that Mao Xiong's choice to announce the fifth-generation aircraft project at this time is undoubtedly a direct confrontation with the Great Eagle country. The brand new avionics system, engine system, and stealth performance were previously tightly locked down by Great Eagle country against Mao Xiong, and they would never leak any technology to Mao Xiong. However, now Mao Xiong has achieved great success in these areas with its own strength. Mao Xiong's acquisition of the 5 generations machine is not good news for the Great Eagle country. Xia Kingdom, Imperial Capital. In a large courtyard of a dry rest center. Mr. Ye Jianhua, who has retired and is resting at home, is sitting on the Grand Tutor's chair, holding a copy of the latest newspaper and reading it. Next to him is a cup of brewed tea placed on the coffee table. He is none other than Ye Tian's grandfather. Now, he is here to rest and enjoy the last moments of his life. Mao Xiong has also developed the fifth-generation stealth fighter, and the progress is really fast. Looking at the content in the newspaper, Ye Jianhua's eyes gradually dimmed. He felt a bit upset when he thought about the increase in the number of Xiaoguo fighter jet replacements once again. He was well aware that once the Air Force formed a generation gap, it meant a one-sided massacre. Suddenly, he remembered his unpopular grandson who was currently studying abroad at Mao Xiong. I don't know how that stinky kid is now, it's been several years and there hasn't been any news coming back. Throwing the newspaper on the coffee table, Ye Tian picked up his teacup and took a bitter sip, feeling a bit uncomfortable. He remembered very clearly that since sending Ye Tian out, there has been no news again, as if it had evaporated from the human world. If it weren't for the sudden news of the Mao Xiong 5th-generation fighter jet today, he would have never thought of Ye Tian for a moment. Placing the teacup on the table, Ye Tian let out a gentle sigh, and it would be better for Ye Tian to stay with Mao Xiong. I just don't know if Ye Tian has shed his playboy personality and transformed into a useful person for the country in the past few years. 004, military rank and uncle level, not even spoken out. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just as he returned to his residence, Ye Tian received a call from his mother Yuqing. Xiao Tian, have you been doing well lately? Have you had enough to eat and warm up? Mom, I've always been good. I'll take care of myself. Don't worry about me. Faced with his mother's concern, Ye Tian felt warm in his heart, but since crossing the river, he had never seen Yuqing, so naturally he didn't have much emotion. But in the face of Ye Tian's indifferent attitude, Yuqing believed that this was due to her son's resentment towards her. It has been several years and Ye Tian should have graduated, but he never said a word about coming back, which hurt Yuqing very much. Xiao Tian, have you been with Mao Xiong for a few years? You should have graduated, right? Do you still hold such grudges against us in your heart? Why haven't you come back yet? Speaking of which, Yuqing's tears flowed down, and her longing was like wild grass. The spring breeze blew deep, and in the end, her voice trembled and she couldn't help but cry. I haven't seen my son for several years, so how could she not want to? At first, Ye Tian was ignorant and incompetent, but in the end, the old man forcibly sent Mao Xiong to study abroad. It has been several years since I went, but Ye Tian has never returned. If it weren't for being able to call and talk to Ye Tian every now and then, she might even suspect that her son has already passed away. Upon hearing his mother's crying, Ye Tian's most vulnerable part of his heart was fiercely hit, but he gritted his teeth and suppressed the palpitations. Now is not the best time for him to go back, he still needs to continue to work hard and struggle here with Mao Xiong. My military achievements are still too few. He just went back like this, somewhat out of place. If he were to be promoted to another level, that would be fun. A few years ago, he was a down-to-earth playboy. When he stepped into the land of Xia again, he was already a lieutenant general, and just thinking about it made him feel interesting. Mom, you don't have to worry about me. I'm doing very well now, really. As for when I will go back, I don't know yet. I want to learn more. Mom, there are indeed many places worth learning from here, especially in my major where my mentor has been guiding me in my work. After a moment of contemplation, Ye Tian responded truthfully, saying that the only thing he couldn't let go of in the entire family was his mother. Even in a lifetime of rebirth, he still holds the deepest affection for his mother. In his past life, his mother also loved him the most, but unfortunately, time did not spare. Her mother passed away early due to illness, and it was truly a deep regret in his heart that his son wanted to raise him but did not care for him. In this lifetime, he searched for many things about his mother Yuqing in his original memories. Every time he gets sick, it's Yuqing who takes him to the hospital to see a doctor. As for father and grandfather, they are both missing family ties. He was forcibly sent to the bear, and at first he really hated his father and grandfather. In recent years, he has deliberately avoided contacting them, and even though he has achieved such high success now, he does not want to share it with them. Now, he can't go back for the time being and has already been awarded the rank of Major General. If you go back, what should the old man think of you then? Will he see himself as a traitor, accepting military ranks from other countries, and becoming a Major General of Mao Xiong in his eyes? I sent myself out to bleed, but I accidentally became a major general with a furry bear. I guess the old man wouldn't have thought of it. Over the years, Ye Tian has also understood that when the old man sent him out, he simply wanted to learn some skills from Mao Xiong and go back. However, his plan couldn't keep up with the changes. He activated the analysis system and overcame one technical challenge after another encountered by the bear aviation industry. You child, once you have a job, you forget that you still have a mother. Tell me for yourself, haven't you been home for years? If you don't come back, you don't want to come back and see me. Ye Tian wiped away her tears and then began to complain. With only such a son, she naturally thought too hard. Even though she devotes all her energy to work during the day, using it to numb herself and prevent herself from thinking about her son Ye Tian, she always unconsciously thinks about Ye Tian in the dead of night. Wait until you have time, I'll go back and see you when I have time. Ye Tian glanced at the photo frame placed on the table, and the mother and son hugged each other intimately. It was his happiest day. Unfortunately, these days are gone forever. Next, after his mother reminded him to keep warm and wear autumn pants, Ye Tian naturally agreed one by one. Although Ye Tian misses her son very much, she has no choice. The old man has not yet spoken to let Ye Tian go back. In their family, the old man still holds an absolute leadership position. Ye Tian is not a troublemaker either. If she misses her son, she will immediately take a plane to visit Ye Tian at Mao Xiong. She also knows that if her son does not withstand the test, he will eventually become useless, as she used to be ignorant and obsessed with money. Even though she never thought about making her son grow into a very outstanding person, she didn't want his son to just be scrapped and become a spendthrift. Because of this, the Ye family is a family of generals. When the old man retired, he had already been promoted to the rank of Major General. Ye Tian's uncle was a Major General and his father was a Colonel and Brigadier General. Ye Tian now also has to submit to his own family, not wanting them to worry so much, and even less wanting them to feel that becoming the little general of Mao Xiong is a betrayal. Ye Tian couldn't help but feel a little relieved. Fortunately, the senior management of Mao Xiong helped him keep it confidential and even signed a confidentiality agreement. Otherwise, he would have been really difficult to deal with. My military rank has been repeatedly promoted, from Major to Colonel and now to Major General. The time span between these is just a few years. I'm afraid even if the old man visits me personally, I won't believe the speed of promotion, right? Ye Tian felt that he could hardly explain clearly now. His military rank exceeded that of his father, and he was on par with his uncle. Although he holds the rank of Mao Xiong and uncle holds the rank of Major General in China, he is generally referred to as Major General. The only difference is that he is only in his 20s, while his uncle is now in his 40s and 50s, and his life has just begun. A Major General in his 20s. Who would believe this when it's said? I don't know how his uncle would feel when he saw himself holding a military rank on the same level as him. Suddenly, Ye Tian couldn't help but look forward to it. P.S. Is there anyone watching it? 100 flowers plus updates, 30 review tickets plus updates, asking for flowers for collection. 005, go to Kegong and receive the title personally from the Emperor, 5th watch. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The news of the emergence of the Mao Xiong 5th-generation fighter jet quickly spread in China. The Defense Department of Xia country has already begun to be urgently anxious. After all, Xia country itself is also under tremendous air defense pressure, facing the advanced fighter planes of Bangzi, Jiapenji, and Daingguo. Especially the stick and the football chicken are all the masters who follow behind the Big Eagle country. They often show off their strength. The current main models of Xia country are still in a non-stealth state, and there are even many second-generation aircraft in service. Since the Great Eagle country acquired the 5th-generation stealth fighter jets, the current situation where Xia country was already under tremendous air defense pressure has become even worse. It can be said that this was the most tragic moment for the Xia Air Force. There have even been incidents where the Great Eagle Kingdom dispatched electronic warfare planes to wreak havoc along the coast of Xia, forcing the Xia Air Force to panic and chaos for a while. Now that Mao Xiong has appeared in the 5th generation, naturally Xiaoguo will turn to them for help. The Defense Department of Xiaoguo immediately held a high-level defense meeting to discuss the current tense situation, and another important content was the procurement of advanced fighter jets from Mao Xiong. The meeting lasted for 2 days and ultimately decided to purchase the most advanced Su-30 fighter jet from Mao Xiong to fill the gap of Xia's 4th-generation aircraft. Of course, the generals attending the meeting, whether from the Air Force or Navy, all knew that it was basically impossible to purchase the latest stealth fighter Su-35 from Mao Xiong. Just like the Great Eagle country, the Raptor stealth fighter used by oneself is definitely not for sale. Later, they developed another Feidian fighter jet and began to sell it to the public. They bought the stick, and recently there have been rumors that they also want to buy the tripod chicken. In this way, the air defense pressure of Xia country became even greater. The products produced by the Sukhoi Design Bureau are definitely of good quality, especially the latest version of the Su-30, which also has stealth performance. At least in this aspect, it is not inferior to the main F.Series fighter jets of the Great Eagle country. As for why Su-30 was purchased, Xiaoguo's senior management has carefully analyzed it. Compared to the Great Eagle country, Mao Xiong's fighter jets were only inferior in terms of avionics, radar performance, and stealth. They have made significant progress, and their core technologies have also been solved. Looking at the entire Blue Star, what Xiaoguo can rely on is the teddy bear. However, apart from Xia country, more and more countries want to purchase fighter jets from Mao Xiong. These countries, like Xia, have their own air defense pressure, and without advanced fighter jets, they cannot better fulfill their homeland air defense tasks. In the current world, jungle laws are still prevalent. Without advanced weapons, only those who are backward and beaten will be affected. Other countries will not care about your interests, and your interests will also become the object of their division. Mao Xiong domestic. Ye Tian also received relevant news that Xiaoguo's Defense Department plans to purchase the latest Su-30 fighter jet from Mao Xiong. He is also well aware that the Su-35 stealth fighter has just been developed and will definitely not be exported. No matter how much Xiaoguo spends, the Mao Xiong Air Force will not sell it. Anyway, the Su-35 stealth fighter jet is just like this when you look at the entire Mao Xiong, and it is naturally listed as a non-sale item. After all, no country is willing to export its most advanced fighter jets to other countries. Moreover, Xiaoguo also possesses super strong industrial capabilities, and even a slight reverse engineering would crack the technology on the Su-35 stealth fighter jet. Mao Xiong doesn't look silly and rough at what it makes, but they are shrewd. At present, the Su-30 fighter jet is still being sold as a 4th-generation aircraft, and it is also the only 4th-generation aircraft exported to Xia country. And the products exported to other countries are naturally 3rd-generation machines. Kegong. The core of the teddy bear is where the great emperor presides over the daily work of the country. Today, the interior decoration of the main hall here is completely new and very lively. The emperor is here today to personally honor the meritorious personnel who have advanced this time. Ye Tian had previously received the Level 2 Military Heroic Medal. This time, he managed to develop the Su-35 stealth fighter, making Mao Xiong the second country on Blue Star to independently own stealth fighter planes. Therefore, the reward given to Ye Tian was immediately upgraded to the Level 1 Military Heroic Medal. On this day, Ye Tian did not go to work at the Sukhoi Design Bureau, but took a special car to the K Palace Hall. He wants to accept this award. Entering the K Palace is the first time in Ye Tianchang's life, and everything is fresh everywhere. Despite this, Ye Tian did not have any stage fright at all. Instead, he stood confidently on the red carpet and slowly walked up to the podium. The emperor announced to all senior military officials that Ye Tian would be awarded the rank of Major General. Ye Tian, this is an outstanding military scientist who led the design and manufacture of China's advanced fighter planes, the Su-30 and the Su-35. Especially the Su-35 fighter jet, his plan greatly improved the overall performance of the fighter jet, making China the second country in the world to have stealth fighter jets. Previously, we were behind the Eagle country in stealth technology, but now we are on an equal footing with them, and their Air Force fighter jets will no longer be inferior to us. Our air defense security has been liberated and free. In recognition of his contributions, he was awarded the first-class Military Heroic Medal and the rank of Major General. After the Emperor finished reading, the host invited Ye Tian up. Amidst the resounding sound of the march, the Emperor first held Ye Tian's hand tightly and congratulated him. Then, a beautiful female officer walked up with a medal and a Major General's rank certificate. The Emperor personally wore the first-class Military Heroic Medal on Ye Tian's chest and awarded him the rank certificate of Major General. That is to say, from this moment on, Ye Tian became Major General Mao Xiong. The Emperor actually knew that the young man in front of him was not very old, but he was a top-notch genius. Looking at the entire bear, he couldn't find a second one. Such a high-end talent, Mao Xiong may not be able to retain him. Perhaps one day in the future, if the other party wants to return to Xia country, he will naturally not stop them. After all, Ye Tian has also trained many outstanding talents for Mao Xiong. The team under Ye Tian was at best considered a second-rate talent before, but under Ye Tian's training, they were able to improve their strength. In addition, what pleased the Emperor the most was that Ye Tian, relying on his own efforts, managed to elevate Mao Xiong's military industry to a higher level. Especially in terms of work efficiency and production efficiency, they have all taken on a completely new look. In addition, Xia Guo is a very important friend of Mao Xiong, and in the international community, they often join hands to fight against Western hegemony, which is beyond doubt. P.S. Is there anyone watching it? 100 flowers add updates, 30 evaluation votes add updates, flowers request collection, 2000 flowers add 7 updates, 5000 flowers add 10 updates. 006, follow the Emperor on a visit, the youngest Mao in history. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Of course, this commendation conference will not be open to the public, let alone announce the list of winners. We respect science and even more respect talents. We bears never mistreat any talent who has made outstanding contributions to our country, regardless of which country they originally belonged to. Today, taking advantage of this opportunity, I would like to announce to the world that if you come to our country of bears and make outstanding contributions to them, then he will be the eternal bear man. His treatment, living within the territory of the bear, is no different from ordinary citizens of the bear. The Emperor passionately stated that although the award ceremony would not be publicly announced, he also wanted to let the high-ranking officials and numerous officials of Mao Xiong know that Mao Xiong should be more proactive in talent. Only in this way can we attract more talents to contribute to the scientific and national defense cause of Mao Xiong, and make more people willing to work and live in Mao Xiong. As the supreme ruler of the bear, the great emperor is well aware that the current situation of the bear is not optimistic. If talent policy reforms are not carried out again, we are afraid that Mao Xiong will continue to decline and eventually become a country that can only rely on buying natural resources to make a living. As soon as this policy was announced, it caused a fierce response from the crowd on site, and they were all extremely excited and happy to see such a change. After the award was completed, the Emperor announced an important itinerary in front of everyone. Today, I want to announce an itinerary to everyone. Next week, I will be conducting a state visit to Xia country, and General Yi, as an important accompanying person, will accompany me on the trip. The great Emperor surrounded everyone, holding onto the podium with both hands, and loudly announced that Mao Xiong valued Ye Tian very much. In fact, everyone can also guess that the great emperor is going to return home with Ye Tian dressed in luxury. This is actually an additional reward for Ye Tian. As soon as this news was announced, it immediately made those below applaud. At the same time, they were all amazed that the emperor had elevated the status of Ye Tian to a certain extent, allowing them to once again see how important top-level talents like Ye Tian were in the emperor's mind. This also conveys an important message to the public that as long as Mao Xiong can make outstanding contributions to the prosperity and strength of Mao Xiong will not hesitate to give high treatment and medals. They will also consider the other party as a member of the teddy bear, giving them protection and the treatment they deserve. Xiagua spent billions of dollars this time to purchase their fighter jets, as well as some oil and gas resources, and both sides still have many areas of cooperation. The emperor's visit to Xia State this time is to deepen the cooperative relationship between the two countries. Ye Tian did not refuse the visit to Xia Kingdom this time. For him, it can be considered a business trip, and he can also take this opportunity to go back and see his mother well. Although he hasn't returned in recent years, his longing for his mother Yuqing has not diminished at all. I used to think that if I didn't show off like a dog, going back would only embarrass my mother Yuqing, and my family would even think that he was a playboy who couldn't support the wall with mud. The reason why the old man sent him to study abroad at Mao Xiong back then was not to train himself, so that he could at least become a person. After exercising, he will be able to arrange work as soon as he goes back. But the development of the matter did not follow the old man's arrangement. Everything has undergone earth-shattering changes, and he has now become the youngest young general of Mao Xiong. In Mao Xiong, it holds a high position and is also a backbone force of Sukhoi Design Bureau. It can be said that the bear has given itself extremely high treatment. This time, I was able to visit my homeland with the emperor as an aviation technology expert and provide some technical exchanges to the Xia side. In fact, for Ye Tian, it would be very gratifying to see the progress of Xia's military power. After all, no one wants to see their own country's air force passively beaten and bullied by countries like Eagle Country, Football Chicken, and Stick. Isn't it because he hasn't gone back in these years that he wants to teach all the skills of Sukhoi Design Bureau in designing fighter jets? He just accidentally exerted too much force and now he has become a pillar of the Sukhoi Design Bureau. Coincidentally, yesterday my mother Yuqing called to inquire about when she will be home. This time, there is a legitimate reason, and it can be considered a dignified return home, without being recognized as an ignorant and inexperienced playboy. Moreover, he can also demonstrate to the old man that over the years he has not become a playboy, but a pillar of talent. Even he had already planned to put on Mao Xiong's Major General's uniform when he returned home. After the award, Ye Tian returned from the K Palace to his residence located within the Sukhoi Design Bureau. He was not idle, but instead took off his general uniform and hung it in his wardrobe. He also put away the medal and changed into work clothes and casual clothes. Although he is currently a major general, he still likes the work uniform issued by the Sukhoi Design Bureau, which makes him more comfortable to wear. Picking up the phone, Ye Tian thought for a moment and then dialed his mother Yuqing's phone. "Oh my goodness, why are you free to call me today? Are you coming back?" As soon as the phone was connected, the voice of her mother Yuqing couldn't wait to come over. "Mom, I'll come back next week. When I have time, I would like to meet you." Ye Tian immediately briefly explained his itinerary, hoping to make his mother happy. "You stinky kid, are you so busy? Do you have time? I tell you, if you come back, don't leave anymore. We will work in China from now on, and Mom will arrange work for you. We won't go to Mao Xiong anymore. Going so far, I can't see each other for years. I'm back, I'll prepare your favorite dish for you." Upon hearing this news, Yuqing was overjoyed and immediately began to speak with a clattering sound. After so many years, Ye Tian was naturally very happy to be able to go home, and she didn't want Ye Tian to study abroad at Mao Xiong anymore. Yuqing has already made up her mind to leave her son behind no matter what. She only has such a precious son, who hasn't seen each other for several years since going to study abroad at Mao Xiong. In fact, if it weren't for the opposition from her family and the business situation that kept her away, she would have flown directly to Mao Xiong to visit her son Ye Tian. I haven't seen each other in these years, and I don't know what Ye Tian's situation is now. Now that Ye Tian is coming back, she naturally doesn't want Ye Tian to leave again. P.S. Add updates, 7 updates for 2,000 flowers, 8 updates for 5,000 flowers, 9 updates for 300 reviews, 10 updates for 500 reviews, just dry, seeking flowers for collection. 007, take the Emperor's special plane and embark on a journey back to China. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The phone was quickly answered by Ye Tian's father, who hadn't seen his son for several years and said he didn't want it to be fake. However, the old man said he wanted to exercise Ye Tian well, and over the years he has suppressed his longing for his son. Now that Ye Tian is coming back, as a father, he is naturally very happy. Xiao Tian, should you tell your grandfather about your return? Over the years, when you're outside, he still misses you very much. Ye's father held the phone for a long time before saying such words. He had 1,000 words in his heart that he wanted to say to Ye Tian, but in the end, they all turned into 1 or 2 very simple words. Anyway, if Ye Tian didn't know about the big matter of returning to China, I'm afraid the old man would definitely be angry if he knew. He also didn't want his son Ye Tian to hate the old man in his heart. After all, it was the old man who forcibly sent Ye Tian out. Any normal person who is treated like this will have resentment in their heart. Moreover, Ye Tian's temperament was not yet mature at the time, and over the years, his son hardly ever called home, let alone went home. A few years have passed in a blink of an eye, and Father Ye's heart is filled with emotions. Then you can tell me, so that I don't come back and not tell him how impolite I am. Hey, you child. Father Ye sighed and then asked, when will you be back? Do you need me to pick you up? He is not a fool, so it is natural to hear that his son still has resentment in his heart. I don't know when this resentment will dissipate, so that the whole family can gather together with laughter and joy. The scene of forcibly seeing off his son a few years ago is still vivid in his memory. No need. Ye Tian refused directly, and this time as an accompanying person, he will naturally take the same special plane as the emperor to Xia Kingdom. Even if his parents want to come and pick him up at the airport, they may not be able to pick him up at all and will eventually be blocked by security personnel. And Ye Tian also doesn't want to cause unnecessary trouble, let alone scare his parents. Next, Ye's father and Yuqing chatted with Ye Tian about some things before hanging up the phone. Ye Tian was naturally very excited. As a major general of the Mao Xiong military industry, there were some technical aspects that needed to be discussed when going to Xia Kingdom. However, it definitely won't take up too much time. In this way, he definitely has time to meet his parents, but he wants to be as peaceful as possible instead of scaring them. At such a young age, he is a major general of Mao Xiong and has even received a first-class medal. Looking at the entire Xia country, I'm afraid he's also unique. Time flies, white horses pass by. In the blink of an eye, a week has passed and a new week has begun. At 5 o'clock on Monday morning, Ye Tian received an arrangement and changed into a major general's uniform. He boarded a special car that came to pick him up and, escorted by guards, headed all the way to the military airport located 100 kilometers northwest of Kegong. On the way, the special car did not stop at all, and the street was still brightly lit. Ye Tian sat in the car, gazing at the scenery on both sides that kept regressing, but was full of ambition. It has been several years, and this is the first time he has left the bear. On the airport apron, a Mao Xiong Air Force-One IL special plane is parked here. A very large special plane shines brightly in the sunlight, very eye-catching. The cabin space is very large and can easily accommodate dozens of people. However, Ye Tian did not expect that one day he would be able to board this plane that only the emperor could board. You should know that looking at the entire bear, apart from the emperor, there are not many people who have the opportunity to ride such a high-level plane. This is the exclusive vehicle of the bear emperor. Being able to come up is an honor. At 6 o'clock, everything was ready for the special plane IL. With the roar of the engine, the special plane increased its speed to its maximum on the runway, lifted its front wheels and plunged straight into the clouds, heading towards Xiagua located in the east. The estimated flight time is 4 to 5 hours, and it will directly arrive at the imperial capital airport in Xia country. In the stratosphere, the IL plane flies exceptionally smoothly, with no civilian aircraft on the route and the route exceptionally smooth. The sun shines its fiery rays on the plane in the distance. Looking at the clouds and sunlight outside the window, Ye Tian's mood surged and he felt a bit uneasy. It's been a long time since I returned to Xia country, and I don't know what Xia country has developed into in the past few years. After several hours of flight, the special plane officially entered Xia's airspace. As this was the official visit of Emperor Mao Xiong, the Xia Air Force immediately dispatched fighter jets to escort him. Welcome distinguished guests to Xia country, our 6 planes will escort you. Quickly, the voice of the Xia pilot came from the broadcast, powerful yet polite. Upon hearing these words, Ye Tian leaned his head towards the hanging window and looked out. He clearly saw 3 fighter planes flying side by side in a very neat formation, forming a goose formation with the wings of the special plane. Despite the flight speed and stability of these fighter jets, Ye Tian still felt that they were too old, and they were still only 3rd-generation planes, not even 4th-generation planes. Using such fighter jets to confront the Air Force of Eagle Country would be a great loss. Even engaging in confrontations with footed chickens, as well as the Bangzi Air Force, will present a vulnerable situation. This dangerous situation must be changed as soon as possible, otherwise those countries with wolf-like ambitions will be eager to act. This is his own country's Air Force, but he never expected it to fall so far behind. Ye Tian couldn't help but develop a sense of crisis and worry about the backwardness of Xia's Air Force fighter jets. At this moment, on the apron of the Imperial Capital Airport, the official media of Xiagua had already stood in the best position and waited there. The security forces have entered the site to conduct a safety review and search for various dangerous areas. The armed guards occupied all the high ground points inside the airport and carried out security duties, turning the airport into an absolutely safe place. The airport picked up personnel who rushed from the Mao Xiong consulate, as well as foreign affairs personnel from Xiagua, have all arrived here by car and are waiting on both sides of the red carpet. They looked up at the sky, waiting for the special plane of Emperor Mao Xiong to land here. Central Mom host Hu Hui, holding a microphone, had already arrived here early and made a live broadcast, introducing to the entire Xia country that the emperor was about to land at this airport. Audience friends, I am delighted to provide you with the latest coverage on site. The emperor's special plane from Mao Xiong will land here, and the emperor will conduct a state visit to our country from here. P.S. Is there anyone watching? 2,000 Fresh Flowers have 7 updates, 5,000 Fresh Flowers have 8 updates, 300 review votes have 9 updates, 500 review votes have 10 updates, and continue to see explosive updates. 008, Grandpa Yi. The little one standing next to the emperor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hu Hui is holding a microphone and has already started a hot topic activity for the upcoming broadcast. Not long after the broadcast, the strong sound of the engine of Mao Xiong Air Force One sounded in the sky, and Hu Hui immediately shifted his gaze to the sky. Audience friends, the Emperor's special plane has entered the airspace over the airport and is about to land at this airport. Our long-awaited Emperor has arrived, he is on board this Mao Xiong Air Force One, it is slowly landing. The Emperor will also officially embark on a journey of visits. Hu Hui pointed to the gradually expanding special plane in the air, loudly promoting it, and the camera also aimed at the sky, capturing the plane. Air Force One from Mao Xiong, with its pure white fuselage, shines brightly in the sunlight and is particularly eye-catching. The nose aligned with the runway and slowly descended, with particularly smooth wings. Buzz. After a moment, the 2 pairs of rear wheels of the special plane landed first on the runway, leaving 2 long, pitch-black tire marks. Immediately afterwards, the front wheels of the special plane also fell down. Quickly under the gaze of everyone, the special plane slid to the front of the red carpet. The gangway car that had already been waiting here drove under the cabin door. After everything was ready, the staff climbed onto the gangway and together opened the cabin door. The Emperor, dressed in a black suit, stood up directly from the sofa, walked out with strong and vigorous steps, and appeared at the door of the cabin. Standing at the entrance of the cabin, the Emperor tidied up his suit and slowly walked down the gangway under the gaze of everyone. When the Emperor stepped on the red carpet, the staff immediately sent flowers. The person from the Foreign Affairs Department immediately stepped forward to greet. Ye Tian followed several accompanying officials and slowly walked out, standing at the cabin door, admiring the yellow-skinned and black-haired Xia people below, but he was extremely moved. "Xia Gua, I'm back." At this moment, he was like a wandering wanderer, finally stepping into the embrace of his motherland. Unfortunately, no one knew that he was wearing the military uniform of Major General Mao Xiong, but he was a proper Xia. Even though he received the highest honor from the bear, the Emperor personally threw an olive branch to welcome him to join the bear, but he remained unmoved. A few years have passed, and for the first time, he will truly set foot on the land of his homeland, while his current identity is that of Mao Xiong's Major General and military industry expert. And a few years ago, when he was sent out, his family had no choice but to do so because he was a super dandy. As Ye Tian slowly walked down the gangway, the host Hu Hui was completely stunned. "Sleeping trough, this person is so young. When did he appear? Look at that appearance, it's still a proper Oriental face. Isn't this visit all made by teddy bears? What's going on? When did this person get on the plane, was it just now? It's a bit unbelievable." Hu Hui quickly saw clearly the military uniform on the young man's body, and his body trembled with a look of astonishment in his eyes. "The rank on my shoulder is still a Major General. My mother, what a young Mao Xiong Major General. So young is a Major General. I've never seen him before. If this were to be aired in the news, it would definitely explode. This news is absolutely explosive. I have never understood anyone before. Unexpected surprise. Unexpected gains. There must be an inspiring story behind this young man." As a journalist, Hu Hui has this professional sense of smell. Hu Hui felt that no matter what, the young man should be broadcasted and given more visuals. So he immediately gestured to the cameraman with his eyes, wanting to give the young man a close-up. Especially the rank of Major General on his shoulder. Of course, the news definitely needs to be broadcasted. Anyway, all the guests who get off the Mao Xiong plane are distinguished guests. As a country of etiquette, Xia Kingdom naturally needs to treat them with respect. The cameraman actually noticed Ye Tian's existence a long time ago, and his heart was also in turmoil. At such a young age, he is a Major General and accompanied the Emperor on a trip, which shows how high the position of this young Major General in the country of Mao Xiong is. If this scene were played, it would definitely attract everyone's attention. He even anticipated how high the ratings of this news would be, and perhaps there would be a special topic to gain a deeper understanding of this young person. He immediately aimed the camera at Ye Tian and paused for 5 or 6 seconds. Ye Tian, who had stepped down the gangway, had already noticed the interview from young Mama's side. Every time such a large-scale foreign affairs event is broadcasted by the central mother, this time it is no exception. But it's hard to say if his family will notice. After all, the news footage gave him very few shots, mainly focused on the protagonist of the interview, the great emperor, while others would only think that he was just an ordinary entourage. Of course, even if you see it, you probably won't doubt that you are their child Ye Tian. Stepping down the gangway and stepping on the land of our motherland is so solid and comfortable. After several years, he finally stepped on the land of his motherland. This place where he was raised for over a decade is still so friendly. Soon, Ye Tian boarded a special car and left the scene with the emperor's convoy, heading to the hotel where he stayed. And the news footage on this side naturally played out. Sure enough, many people didn't pay much attention to a young man like Ye Tian in the Mao Xiong entourage, but many still noticed a person with an Eastern face appearing on the news. This is a high-level delegation, so naturally no one would associate Ye Tian with Xia people. Imperial capital. In a villa within a rest area. Mr. Yi is reading the news and keeping an eye on major events in the world. When he saw Ye Tian in the news footage, it was as if he had been struck by lightning. Suddenly, his whole body froze, and the teacup that reached his mouth also stopped in mid-air. How could this face be so familiar? Where have you seen it before? No, I definitely don't have any dizziness. Quickly, the young man's face overlapped with the image in his mind. In an instant, his eyes widened several times. He looks like his own great-grandson. It really seems. No, it's impossible. My grandson is studying abroad at Mao Xiong, and even if he is capable, he cannot become Mao Xiong's visiting companion and be with the emperor. It's impossible, that's definitely not possible. My great-grandson would never have such a high status in Mao Xiong, able to step down from the emperor's plane. What a high honor this is, I can't even think of it. Even though he is a lieutenant general in the Xia army, he has never visited with the highest level. Maybe it looks too similar. P.S. 8 updates, 5,000 fresh flowers for 9 updates, 300 review votes for 10 updates, 500 review votes for 11 updates, all supported by the required data. 009, the senior executives attending the meeting were shocked by the lack of fur bears. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mr. Yi let out a soft sigh before putting down his hand holding the teacup. When the news was broadcasted, not only did the old man see it, but Ye Tian's uncle Ye Zhennan and Ye Tian's father Ye Zhenfeng also saw it. Zhenfeng, did you see that young man coming down the gangway just now? He does look very much like a nephew. It's just a mold carved out, it's so similar. I thought my big nephew had returned just now. Ye Zhennan was the first to express his doubts, but his gaze was fixed on Ye Zhenfeng, his younger brother. Just now he saw the young man walking down the gangway step by step on the news, which really scared him. He thought his nephew Ye Tian had returned. But he soon noticed that the young man was wearing the Major General's uniform of Mao Xiong, and he had also walked down from Mao Xiong one special plane. What kind of person could come with Emperor Mao Xiong to visit the Xia kingdom? That must be an existence with extremely high status in Mao Xiong, and his eldest nephew Ye Tian Kai went to Mao Xiong for a few years before earning the rank of Major General. How could it be? However, that person looks so much like Ye Tian. Yeah, you scared me a lot just now. But I'm sure that person is not Xiao Tian. My kid has only been to Mao Xiong for a few years, and he just graduated this year, right? Dad, brother, Xiao Tian called back last week and he will be back this week. But I don't think that's our little Sky. Ye Zhenfeng smiled bitterly and shook his head gently. He was also a bit dazed just now. Even though he hadn't seen his son for several years, he still had a deep impression of Ye Tian's appearance and figure. If you don't know your own son, is he still a father? But he is not sure now whether the young Major General who got off the plane is his son Ye Tian. If his wife Yuqin is here, perhaps we can be certain. They look so alike. But why do the people who walk down from Air Force-One bear the faces of us Easterners? And since that kid is still a Major General, it's really rare. If it were in our country, that kid's military rank would be on the same level as mine. The young people nowadays are really scary, they are truly heroes producing young people. Ye Zhennan turned his head and glanced at the military rank shoulder badge on his shoulder, then shook his head gently with a bitter smile. This young man's military rank is on the same level as himself. As a Major General, he naturally knows very well how difficult it is for a person to become a Major General, no matter which country they are in. Without making earth-shattering contributions, it is impossible to ride the same plane with the emperor to Xia. Moreover, the person with an Eastern face is so young. I'm afraid it looks like he's just in his early 20s, but he's a reliable major general. I can't imagine this ability and the contributions made. In fact, they didn't expect Ye Tian to come to Xia with the emperor on the Mao Xiong Air Force-One. They just thought that this young man looked like Ye Tian. Yeah, our little one is still studying abroad at Mao Xiong. How could a student become a major general? Calculate the time, I just graduated this year. Ye Tian picked up his teacup and took a big sip, exclaiming with emotion. He also really wants that young man to be his own son. In that case, even the old man would probably feel extremely happy for Ye Tian, wouldn't he? Just when this idea first appeared, he shook his head and a bitter smile appeared on his face. Even if it's placed in the position of Mao Xiong, the rank of Major General may not be easy to obtain. How much credit does it take to become a Major General? On this point alone, Ye Tian does not match. After all, how old is Ye Tian Kai and how much contribution can he make? Even if I put the knife on his father's neck, he wouldn't believe it. Moreover, it is absolutely not suitable in terms of age. How old is his son Ye Tian Kai? Can you make such a great contribution to the bear? Even he had some doubts that the young man's rank of Major General might have been intentional by Mao Xiong, to show Xia and even the world that Mao Xiong was still the same Mao Xiong, capable of attracting talents from all over the world and willing to give them the highest honor. It's really unbelievable. Yeah, our little Tian is only 22 years old this year. If I were such a young general, then where should I put my uncle's face? That kid, at such a young age, went on a trip with Emperor Mao Xiong and boarded the same special plane. I didn't even receive such treatment. Ye Tian smiled bitterly and rubbed his hands hard on his face, saying helpless words in a joking tone. Even though he is now a major general and holds a high position, he has never accompanied senior officials on any visits. Not to mention, the young man followed closely behind the emperor as he stepped down the gangway. If you don't have that treatment, then I won't have it even more. Young people nowadays are truly terrifying to the younger generation. I never expected that we Easterners could also achieve such a high status in Mao Xiong. Amazing young man. Ye Tian, however, has a different feeling. A young man with an Eastern face has made tremendous efforts to fight to the position of Major General in Mao Xiong. Even if this young man is not his son, it is still admirable. Whether it's Ye Tian, Ye Tian, or Ye Laozi, these people didn't think too much, but it doesn't mean that the Xia military didn't think too much. After a night's rest, a meeting of the delegations from both countries was held the next day. The military department also dispatched professional negotiators to attend the meeting, and the highest-level leader of Xia also attended the meeting. In the conference hall of a military-backed hotel in Xia country, the lights are shining brightly and magnificent. On the long bar table, the highest-level representatives of the two countries held a meeting. This is the first high-level meeting between the two countries. In addition to official meetings, there are also secret meetings for detailed negotiations. At the conference table, Ye Tian sat next to the emperor, and anyone could tell that the emperor was particularly different from this young man and even attached great importance to him. The Minister of Defense of Xia stared at Ye Tian for a while, but his heart was filled with curiosity. Why does the other person look so unfamiliar even though they have a standard Oriental face? At this moment, a million reasons have appeared in his mind. Looking at the other person, it's clear that they are a Xia person. But he happened to sit next to the furry bear emperor, clearly a technical expert. PS 9 updates, 10 updates for 5,000 flowers, 11 updates for 300 reviews, and 12 updates for 500 reviews. 010, Investigating Identity, Major General Mao Xiong is really. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Let me introduce to you that the person sitting next to me is our chief technical expert for this military trade. If you have any technical questions about Su-30, you can ask him. I think he can definitely help you solve problems and answer questions. After the formal meeting, the emperor pointed to Ye Tian beside him and introduced himself to the Xia people who were participating in the negotiations, his face filled with pride. Being able to bring a young and energetic person like Ye Tian over saved the emperor a lot of trouble during his trip to Xia. Sitting across from him, the Minister of Defense of Xiagua, as well as other negotiators, showed a surprised expression on their faces, all of whom were shocked. In this trade activity, Xiagua purchased billions of dollars of Sukhoi multifunctional fighter jets. And the chief technical expert sent by the other party turned out to be the young man in front of them. It's really terrifying. The one who followed the visiting group of Mao Xiong was not at the elite level. They had thought that one of these people was the chief technical expert. I didn't expect it to be this young man. He also found that this young man held a very high position, and all other technicians followed him, and showed great respect to him. They can all see that this respect goes deep into the hearts of these people. Only by overwhelming the other party in terms of technology, how much contribution should we have made to win such high respect? I can't believe you're such a young Major General. At such a young age, being your chief technical expert is truly admirable. Confirmed the saying of our Xia country, heroes make young men. It is truly gratifying to have such young talents in your country. After calming down for a moment, the chief of defense stared at Ye Tian for a moment before sincerely praising him. He even envied why the young expert in front of him was born in the country of Mao Xiong, rather than in their country of Xia. If Xiagua also had such talents, that would be a great thing. Not to mention the rank of Major General, even the highest treatment can be given. Several military personnel responsible for technical negotiations from Xiagua gathered together and cast curious glances at Ye Tian. This young man clearly has an oriental face, but it's unclear whether he's from Xia or any other country. He's really very young. It looks like at most in their early 20s, with the rank of Major General. It's scary. As soldiers, they are naturally aware of the promotion of military ranks. It is impossible for them to make outstanding contributions, and this contribution is comparable to that of heaven and earth. Because the other party is a technical expert from the country of Mao Xiong, their identity is strictly confidential, so they cannot find any information. At such a young age, he is a Major General and also a technical expert. I don't know what his background is. At this age, many people may just have graduated from university, but they are already a Major General, and future generations are afraid. Why doesn't our Xia country have such talent? Mao Xiong also kept it a secret and never made it public. It should be a technical expert from the Sukhoi Design Bureau. Anyway, at this age, he must be a genius. Isn't it a genius? My kid is also so young, but he always knows how to cause trouble. Several representatives of the Xia military negotiations gathered together and whispered, showing great interest in Ye Tian sitting opposite them. Anyway, individuals will always receive attention wherever they go. Moreover, Ye Tian is so young and also bears the heavy responsibility of being the chief technical expert of Mao Xiong. Even if they don't want to follow, it's difficult. Ye Tian naturally understood the conversation between Xia Guojun and his people, but he did not express anything, let alone rashly communicate with them now, nor did he have the intention of explaining. Next, the negotiations entered into the details of military trade. Faced with the technical issues raised by Xia's military industry experts, Ye Tian provided sufficient answers as agreed. Ye Tian answered fluently and demonstrated professionalism, even addressing many technical issues without even having to look at the prepared materials. He just spoke up. This professionalism and competence directly impressed all the technical experts from Xiagua who participated in the negotiations on site, and they even felt that Ye Tian was the main person in charge of the Sukhoi fighter jet. They were even more envious. Why were genius figures like Ye Tian born into Mao Xiong? After the meeting, Chen Feng, the Minister of Defense of Xia State, and Chen Laozi personally stepped forward to greet Ye Tian. General Ye, hello. It is truly admirable that you have such a deep understanding of the Su-30 fighter jet at your age. Facing Chen Lao's kindness, Ye Tian responded with a friendly smile. He is also very happy to receive praise from Mr. Chen, which proves that his knowledge has been recognized by the other party. Mr. Chen praised it falsely. As a chief technical expert, it is natural to have a thorough understanding of the Su-30 fighter jet. That's how I can give you the quickest answer, right? Ye Tian's response was very direct, but not lacking in humor, and of course, he would not go beyond the scope of his response. After all, his current identity is still a Major General of Mao Xiong, the chief technical expert, undertaking corresponding tasks. Your name is Ye Tian, so you're from our Xia people. So, can you also understand our Xia language? Chen Laogang just noticed Ye Tian's name and spelled it as a Chinese name. He asked with a hint of meaning. In fact, he also developed a great interest in Ye Tian. I am from Xia and can understand Xia Mandarin. Ye Tian had no intention of concealing anything, so he just said it out. Anyway, he didn't violate the confidentiality agreement. Xia people. Although the city was very deep, Chen Lao was very shocked and instinctively asked, so why did you become a Major General Mao Xiong? If possible, you can tell me. Everything is a coincidence of chance. Alright, that's all for now. Ye Tian doesn't intend to say too much, after all, he still represents the furry bear, so he naturally wants to avoid suspicion. In addition, many things must not be disclosed, and a confidentiality agreement was signed before. Okay, you're busy. After seeing off Ye Tian, old Chen's interest immediately increased. Since he is from Xia, it is necessary to investigate the background of this young man. Check, it must be checked. Although there are many people with the same name and surname nationwide, it is still necessary to investigate. From what the other person said, he was certain that Ye Tian was still a student and had also joined the Sukhoi Design Bureau. P.S. Is anyone watching it? 1,000 flowers plus updates, 100 evaluation votes plus updates, requesting flowers for collection, continuing to add updates.